This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back, everybody. Many of us enjoy drinking Java. We are suggesting that you drink Kava. It can be a game changer, and it has for this gentleman and also the people that enjoy his facility, his restaurant. It's not even that. It's more of an experience in Orange County, California, with 2 locations, and I'm talking about Mystic Water Kava Bar, and he's the man behind it. What a journey it's been. We're going to learn more about that journey and some of those things that you might apply to your life, especially, we've been through struggles, got to find the fortitude to forge on forward. Well, he has, and started with $8 in his pocket, and through the process of many divine situations, led him where he is today. And with us, Avi Weber is back with us. Welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Really good. It's a sunny day in California. How can you complain?
Even before we dig in to your story, just want to remind everybody that don't know, that are not aware, what is Kava?
Kava, like I'd say, it's the plant of peace. It's the root of a kava plant. It's in the same family as black pepper. It's been known to relax muscles, enhance sociability, to anti-anxiety, anti-depression. And it's a beverage they've been drinking for a little over 3,000 years. They use it in ceremony. They use it before they do business. It gets rid of your aggression so you can negotiate better. But it's also a social lubricant, right? It's getting rid of your social anxiety. You drop your masks. You meet people more openly, more honestly, but you're not losing your inhibitions. You're just comfortable in your own skin. You meet somebody at the bar, you might hang out, talk. But if you saw them in the grocery store the next day, you'd probably pretend you didn't see them and go down a different aisle.
Sadly, that's
what I've
true.
noticed, it's very strange. But what I've noticed with Kava is you'll stop and talk to that person in the grocery store for 20 minutes because it's a heart opener. But because you're not inebriated, the connection that you're making with that person, it's a real connection. I don't know what the gentleman's name is, but I believe last year or the year before, he was given a $1 million grant to study Kava as far as like PTSD.
Wow.
Right. So they have 3 groups. One, they just drink Kava. One group just talks and doesn't drink Kava. And then the third group talks and drinks Kava at the same time. So they're trying to find out how important is the actual talk story in the healing process. And, I think I have a different perspective because I've had 5 Kava bars since 2009. I have 2 right now, but I opened in different cities where I didn't know anybody, complete strangers to the community. And I watched it in each community. Like I watched it with my own eyes. Something very magical has happened around the consumption of Kava, or just the Kava actually just being in the room, because sometimes people, they don't want the Kava. They just want to come in and hang out, socialize. It's me, it's the space, it's, how I wove a lot of different things together. Like I've been moving around from different areas in the business inside of these podcasts to showcase the murals that this woman, Anya Nadal, paints, and we collaborate, tell her what I want, and how the art sets a tone, how the Kava sets a tone, how the music sets a tone. And I watch. It's the same thing has happened in every city. All of a sudden, people, they don't even want to tell their friends because they don't want to blow up the spot. It's their escape from the world, and then all of a sudden they have a whole new community of friends. And it's just a very fascinating. You have social anxiety, drink some Kava.
How did you find, and many questions here, and we're gonna dig in deep in a moment, deeper, but how did you find the courage to go to the other side of the country You went from Florida to California, and you just said that you didn't know anybody, and you just show up, and through a series of events, you were able to make it happen financially, and you just open a place. Like many times, somebody has they're entrenched in a community and maybe they owned a bar and they close that bar, but they decide, I'm going to open up another one. I know a gentleman in town here. I've worked with him over the years actually, and he owns like 5 different restaurants, but it may be more. He's like connected to so many, but he knew people and, friends and family come to start, and then it grows and it grows and it grows. You just showed up. How did you find the courage to do that, Avi?
Well, the second Kava bar I opened was so I opened the Kava bar in Hollywood, Florida in 2009. October 2009, I opened the doors. And March of 2010, I had made enough money through the cash register to open a second location. And my sister Adesh is who taught me my Kundalini yoga practice. Well, she didn't teach me the practice. She gave me a practice to do, and I had this amazing experience inside of prosperity and abundance. And so December of 2009, I invite my sister Adesh to come out to Hollywood, Florida, so she can run the bar, because I was going to do an event at this art gallery, Moksha, in Miami. And it ran alongside of Art Basel. And this is where I get introduced into the visionary art world. And so she comes out, she watches the bar for me so I can go sling Kava at this event. But my intention was I wanted her to see what Kava was, because her yoga studio was her living room, right? She had a 3-bedroom house. She rented 2 of the rooms out to 2 tenants. She stayed in the other room, but there was no living room. The living room was her yoga studio. And she would hold classes there on a daily basis. And so I wanted to bring Kava and yoga together. The idea was for the Kava bar to pay the rent so that you didn't have to charge a ridiculous price to the person coming to practice yoga. And so my idea was, hey, let's bring a Kava bar to San Diego, put your yoga studio in the middle of it, and we'll see what happens. And so that it was more of a me returning the favor. Like I would not have had the Kava bar if I wasn't given that yoga practice. And so just to keep paying it forward and moving forward. And so we did. And it became a very successful place, closed it in 2016, but it's because of family issues that occurred inside of all of that, that caused me to close the 3 locations that I had opened. But in 2 years after that, I opened Ithaca, New York for my other sister. But it was like I knew my family. My brain was like, don't do that. Like, that's a bad idea. And everybody tells you in business, don't go into business with your friends and your family. It's a horrible thing, But I was reading a book. I don't remember the title or the author of the book, but one of the things that it said was, if your heart tells you to do something and your brain tells you not to, do it. Don't lose sight of your heart. Because if you stay true to that, at the end of the experience, there's going to be something beautiful waiting for you. And that's what happened. The world around me crashed and burned with my family. They tried to steal the Kava bars. I ended up having to close. But they were successful. The fastest way to get somebody stealing from you out of your pocket is to just close. And that's why I closed, right? But when I was building the New York location, I broke my back cliff diving in 1996 in Okinawa, Japan. And when I was building the Kava bar out in New York, my sister Judy told me, she mentioned network spinal analysis, which is this form of chiropractic. And I just had whatever, I blew, whatever. I didn't do anything with it really. In 2016, when I was opening Huntington Beach, something told me to go for a run. So when I finished building out, doing some of the work to open the place, I went to go run around Golden West College, and my legs wouldn't move as fast as my brain was telling them to. And I could tell, I could feel this disconnect in my hips, and I knew something was wrong. So I went on, I remembered my sister Judy telling me about network spinal analysis. So I went online and I found this guy, Dr. Whalen, in Laguna Niguel. There was two practitioners, him and somebody else, but I chose this guy, and I went 3 times a week, twice a week, once a week, right? So 3 times a week for a month, twice a week for a month, once a week for a month. I started running in the canyons in Orange County every day. And all of a sudden I started realizing that the cost of what I went through, the drama and everything with my sister Adesh, that's what it cost me to get introduced into this world, the yoga, all of these, Dr. Joe Dispenza, all of these different people that had a lot of very powerful information that I would never have even looked at, right? So the money and the heartache and everything that I went through with my sister Adesh was what it cost to get introduced to that world. The drama, the heartache, the money that I lost with my sister Judy is what it cost me to be able to run again. And it dissipated the drama inside of myself. And then I started seeing, like, if I fought, like, my intention was to bring the Kava to my sisters so that they could take care of themselves. The way it, like what it did for me, I wanted it to do for them. And I did that. I just didn't get what I expected. And that's why they say don't have any expectations, right? But if I fought with them over the drama, and I would have destroyed, because my sister Judy, she has her Kava bar in Ithaca, New York still. I believe my sister Adesh is still in the Kava world, And so I did what I did. If I would have fought and crashed it all instead of just walking away, I would not have accomplished what I set out to do. So I accomplished my mission. I just didn't necessarily get what I expected, but I got the ability to run, and I opened the door into the world of connecting into yourself and then tapping into the divine and creating out of thin air.
So many lessons, so many life lessons.
Ridiculous, but they're undeniable event, and they happen to everybody. You just have to somehow pay attention.
Yeah.
And very strange things.
Where you would not, and it's always been said that, I want this, I need that. We have this vision, but maybe the universe has a better idea. It knows better than we. And apparently in your situation, it knew, got to get Avi to California. We're going to have him in, we're going to introduce him through just the way it works. Somebody that's going to help you literally get back on your feet again. And in your family situation, it seems that what you did came from love. You were doing the right thing in enabling them with Kava to move their lives forward. Maybe it didn't work out the way you expected it to, but that's not you. You had a vision to help your family.
Right. And you just do it. And whatever happens, if you did, why you did what you did.
Yep.
Right. And, I think that's what they mean when they say, know who you are. Right. Know your truth. You know why you did what you did.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't, maybe you really weren't on the up and up. Maybe there were all of these other things in there. And that's why it bothers you when there's negativity out there about you, because there's a truth to it. But if you know your truth, if you know that you acted from your heart and your intentions were pure,
yeah,
it doesn't bother you. It does. And you can't defend your reputation.
Be interesting what you're saying. And I've experienced this recently, or at least more mindful of it. When we point things out in other people, You like this, you don't like that in somebody else or others. It's been said that the things that you're pointing out, it's all you. You're talking
Mhm.
about yourself. You don't realize it, but you're pointing those things out. And I'm part of a men's group. A couple of weeks ago, we did just
Right.
that. We were around the room. We had to say things we like and we don't like. Kind of uncomfortable, got to tell you. Known the men for
Right.
about a year. But then when it was over, that was revealed. And then the takeaway was like, wow, that's me. Got to think
Right.
deeper about that.
That's what they say, like lesson 101, what you don't like about other people is what you don't like about yourself.
For sure.
And so as weird as this stuff gets, it's just based on like what you just shared. There is a woman, Stephanie, she does energy work, right? I never met this woman. An hour and a half conversations over the telephone, whatever she was doing, like you can feel it sometimes physically in your body.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And she really helped me to stay at a high vibration during a lot of this stuff. But one day she's doing some stuff and she's like, you might feel this stuff moving through your body. If it gets too intense, just call me on the telephone and I'll dial back down some of the frequency.
Was she doing Reiki or chakra balancing by remote?
Uh, I have no idea, but let's say all of that times 1,000.
Okay.
Like medical intuitives.
Yep.
I had a friend that was Ileana that was having heart issues, and Stephanie and some of the friends that she works with would tell me what was wrong with Ileana before the doctors did. And they were spot on. Like, if she's bleeding from her lower ilium to like just ridiculous. Like, I have no idea what they're doing. I cannot do that. I don't, but so she tells me if you feel things moving through your body, just call me if it's too much. Later that evening, I was working on the computer and I felt something fall in my right ear, and right, and it's like this piece of wax. I'm like, what the hell. And then in my left ear, it fell again, and then in my right ear, I'm like, what the hell. And then I felt something wiggling in my neck. Right, there's this thing wiggling. It's weird, wiggling, and it comes out of my ear. Right, it was like the length of a keyboard key, half as thick. Right, but it was a solid, like a rock piece of wax came out of my ear. And as soon as that came out of my ear, this voice says, Avi, 95% of the words out of your mouth are for your own ears. And so then I started exploring that, reading things that I wrote that I thought the world needed to learn, and I went back like a year and a half over things that I journaled or, things that I put out on social media. And it was like, imagine the most powerful being in your world wrote all of those things specifically for you. And it rang so true when you're really honest with it. It was
Wow.
so right. And so then I was like, okay, if it's true for me, it's true for you. Right. So 95% of the words out of your mouth are for your ears. So I learned to kind of stop and just start to listen to what other people were saying because they were talking to themselves. And namaste, right? Thank you for allowing me to have a conversation with myself, right? What I see in you is a reflection of me, but you are not me. There's 1,000 things about you I can't see because I don't have the experience to recognize it. And watching my sisters, like I would sit with my sister, and talking about opening the Kava bar for the other sister. And they'd be like, why do we have to work? They did not like each other, and the things that one sister would say about why she didn't like the other sister. And then when I would sit with the other sister, she would say the things she didn't like about the other sister.
And you're in the
And it
middle,
was
and you're in the middle of it.
right, but it was the exact same thing. They said the exact same thing. And it was these real time events that showed me this information is true. And a lot of times, we go through the event and then maybe 6 months, a year later, we have that aha moment. Oh, I understand what that was. For some reason, these things were happening instantaneously in real time for me. And it was like, I really feel, on some woo-woo weird level, like I was being tested in the building of Mystic Water to make sure that I could maintain the integrity of the space. Because you're going to meet all kinds of people going through all kinds of issues.
You have a responsibility.
Correct. And if I lose that integrity to that, Mystic Water goes away.
I never thought of it that way, Avi, until, all right, let me rephrase that. In the back of my mind, I thought of that, but it wasn't in the forefront until you just said it. But you created this community, you created this space, you included this beverage that's been around for thousands of years, that helps people open up. There's a responsibility involved, and they're all coming to you potentially to heal in many regards and connect with others and maybe move their journey forward. So you got a lot on your shoulders there. So maybe the universe, or however you want to phrase it, wanted to make sure that you're the man for this. We can't screw this up. This is more than just coming in and having a drink and walking out.
Right. Kava found me. I didn't find Kava. That I truly believe that in a very strange. Like I would never have walked into that Kava bar. The guy that I got my magic mushrooms from chased me down the street. He's like, Avi, you got to come. Like, I would never have walked in there. Like, I know I would never have gone. And so it just unfolded. But all of the right people showing up with a little bit of information at the right time.
They were every one of them was a stepping stone to get
but
there.
All at once.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, I came across the flower of life, and learned a lot of, Think and Grow Rich, but it's not like I got one book and 6 months later I came across the other one. Like within the same week, it all happened.
Because it was supposed to.
Right. And, you can answer the call or you can stay on the couch. And I think a lot of times we tend to stay on the couch. We don't believe the call. Opportunity knocks and you think it's a scam.
Yeah.
But you don't, it hasn't happened yet. So is it a scam or is it this huge potential? Unless you pick the wave, right? Because it hasn't happened yet. Your future hasn't occurred yet. So,
well, there are some that believe that this moment is a memory. We already planned this out within our minds, within manifestation, whatever you want to call it. Every memory, it's already happened. We already made this happen.
Right. That's what we were saying earlier, that it's pre-scripted. Right? As like I believe like it happened 5 levels above us.
Right.
We're just the last one to get to the memo.
And there is probably, I don't even want to use the word probably. I want to be even more definitive. There's a reason we are talking today. And if we go deeper and deeper and deeper, we probably will start pulling things apart. How you help me, I help you, we help others. It all kind of comes together.
Right.
Did you know from the onset the power of Kava? You knew it was good, but did you realize the magnitude, the community, all of that from the beginning? Did you have that feeling within?
No. I learned all of this through serving Kava. Like I still work behind the bar, I don't like, it's a very weird, like my mentality of myself, I guess, which is one of the things I guess I really need to learn to kind of like shift out of. But I'm still that broke waiter from 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
I have never really moved out of that, like it's where I'm at. You know, I work
Because it's who you are. There's the difference. There's a
right.
difference. You know, it doesn't matter. You take pride in it and you have that responsibility. We're out of time. I just want to keep going. I find your story fascinating and on so many different levels, the life level, the entrepreneur level, if you want to go woo-woo level. I'm all right there. It's fascinating. Question. I wish I was there. I should manifest that and just
Come
go
on
there.
over. You know, we'll do the next episode over a bowl of kava.
I want to try Kava and I want to share it with others. How would you do that if you're not walking into your Kava bar? I don't even know where to start.
Right. So for now, because I don't do like the online, like I don't have a online store,
Sure.
but they'll reach out to me through the Instagram, Mystic Water Kava Bar or Mystic Water Kava Bar Ventura.
Sure.
And they order in through PayPal, Zelle, or Venmo, you know, like I just mail it to them, you know,
Wow.
but I don't have the retail side necessarily. Like I
Sure.
sell retail in the store,
Okay.
but
Hmm.
I stuck at the whole internet web kind of like my
In
business
time.
is more about what happens across the bar. The
Would
kava is
you?
just medium.
Well, that's the difference. Yeah, we can drink kava, all good, but you have created an experience. Would it safe to be said that you want to change your life? Just add water.
Yes, everything happens biologically over the surface of water. More
Hmm.
water, more dirt, you know.
I had that
That's
epiphany a long time ago. Well, not a long time ago, in the last year, where I just realized that everything comes from the earth. Everything,
yeah,
everything, right down to your phone, the semiconductors in it. That came from
right.
everything comes from the earth. And
Right, but you still have to be careful. You know, just because it comes from the earth doesn't mean it's good for you. You know, you're not
sure.
putting poison ivy in your salad,
Well, yes, true,
you
true.
know,
But
and
I'm
that
sure there's a purpose for poison ivy in the ecology and the big picture of
right,
things. We don't even know what it is. Maybe there's probably some birds that eat poison ivy or the berries that come from
right,
it.
for sure. But it's an education,
Yeah.
you know,
Um,
like yeah, definitely a full, but there are so many things out. I'm sure there's more things out there than just Kava that does what Kava does. I'm just not aware of them.
mm.
But
Fascinating story. Thank you for sharing another layer of it. And I got one word, yes or no, or soon. Franchise?
I would love to, you know, before COVID happened, we were going to franchise two, and then that fizzled because of, you know,
Sure.
2020 and beyond. But
Mm.
if I knew the right people to really pull it off, then I would do it in a heartbeat. Like I can't open 100 stores by myself.
Of course. But you know what? The right people in person showed up to get
Hmm.
you at this point. When it's time, the franchise person or people will probably show up too.
Correct.
My gut is screaming that. I don't know why. I don't know. Um,
Right.
when
Yeah,
it's
that's
right.
the wellness. That's the idea.
Mm. Avi, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it. And I'm truly looking forward to the next chapter we get together again.
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's talk soon.
We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.